Sorry, I'm eating still. Almost finished. Give me a second. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Thank you for minding me choking down a lot of chili con carne. Um, that's definitely going to do something to my ass later, not in the sexy way, but hello and welcome to my stream where I talk about my game. um, I hope everyone's doing well. Hello, I'm looking at both chats. I should put them next to each other. Give me a second. So I don't have to keep shifting my head from one monitor to the next. Hmm. Yeah, chili con carne is nice. It is very easy to make. That's pretty much my only reason I'm doing it. I had to like immediately cook it as soon as I got home, because I was in the office today. One of those types of days. Um, I forgot I put the time or a schedule to 4 to 5. I thought for sure I put it at half 5 or 6, but that was a very specific time. I'm wondering if it's because I do have plans, but that's at like 8 p.m. to watch anime with friends. So, which I'm in charge of. So, if I don't turn up, the whole thing's ruins for the other two friends of mine. Um, but that's fine. I should give me enough time. Uh, is the stream on YouTube okay still? It just... Oh wait, no, okay, it's still going. Let me also... Give me 1 second. Make sure I have a better connection. Turn this off. Just accidentally... Yeah, no, I was thinking about. I was talking to a friend the other day about this, and I was like, "Yeah, I do enjoy my streams. Well, at least what I've done started so far, but I won't hesitate to stop a stream if I got other things to do. And it specifically if it's like involving watching anime, I still stand by that. Like, it's unless you're doing something like super important. Oh wait, have I lost a Twitch stream? Testing stream again. Sorry, I accidentally lost connection with Twitch. Now I've lost connection with YouTube. Now I'm back on both. Reply on both chats if you're both here. I yeah, definitely. Oh, there we go. Okay, okay, thank you. Sorry, that was a disaster of a start. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, friends are more important than streams. That's true. Like, I don't mean that in like a dismissive, I'm dismissing the people who come to see me kind of thing. It's just more you gotta prioritize your own mental health first before anything else. I'm not gonna go on a rant about that. Personally, as long as I have a laid back stream, I'm fine with that. If I have less than 5 views, I am perfectly okay with that. It means I have more interactions with all of you, and it's a bit more personal that way, and I like that. Plus, no one's an asshole, so I'm gonna enjoy this if while I can, in case the numbers ever go up and problematic people come in. But yeah, okay. Let's jump into this. So this is my game. There's an account on Twitter and an account on itch.io under the name Derek Bottles. That is my game dev persona. I originally I just wanted to keep them apart from my actual streaming life and this, but I realized after releasing that demo, not many people played it, so I am making sure in some way, shape, or form the word gets out there. Give me a second. I burped, but I muted before I burped because I am polite this way. But yes, I was gonna say, yeah. So we're just gonna play through this first demo, and then I'm gonna talk through it after I beat it because I could pretty much speedrun this thing and do it pretty fast. I'm not sure if I should speedrun it. That would not make... It might make... Actually, it might make the game look good, so let's just go with that. This game has an assist mode, but basically... Well, you won't know... I think this is another... I'm about to go on a mini game dev rant right now. I was going to say that if you've never played the game before, you most likely won't know what assist mode is or will use it. And you'd only use it after the fact if you actually like the game enough to come back to it. So, you know, yeah, we'll just jump into it. You play as a magician thief. And it's a pretty basic platformer for the most part. Shoot when green. If they see you, they activate, and they will hurt you. Hold LT, because you can lock the direction of the gun, which no one does. Literally no one. Avoid that laser. Move into the next level. So I've made pretty much every asset here except for the background and the electric effect on the laser itself. That was actually a free asset. Do. Yeah, more or less. Why gunlock when you can flail? Oh, and there's a checkpoint. Yeah. That's my friend Max. Max actually played this game, so shout out to Max for probably being the only and probably first and only streamer to have played my game first. But yeah, it looks pretty fun. I hope so. Though I've had over like 20 people playtest this game, and I've gone back and forth with so many people. A few of them are actual game developers, two of which worked at big companies. So it was nice to get actual advice and opinions on it. And I had a range of like different people playing the game from different skill sets. I'm in a very fascinatingly good position where every playtester had their own unique level of skill. And because of that, I'm able to distinguish, like, oh, how is this game for this particular type of player? And where should I avoid? I'm gonna pretty much do this level without getting hit. There's 15 rooms you have to beat, and one boss room. I have played this game, I'd probably say more in the thousands, probably in the near 10,000 times of like reiterating, fixing, and changing things up. So we'll try and avoid. Yeah, I can't get hit. Unless I fuck up, it's very unlikely that I'm making this game look easy when I know it's actually a bit more difficult to a lot of people. Like, I'm casually just doing this because I know the exact point to jump. This is royalty-free music, thanks to the Dover Syndrome channel. A lot of VTubers use that channel for music. I don't need to explain that one. Oh, the music. Oh, okay, the music looping. Sorry, I usually beat the level before this point, but I am talking. Yeah, this game took a bit of inspiration from Mega Man. When I was researching how to do a shoot mechanic, I was like, yeah, I was doing some research on Mega Man. I'll talk about that in a bit, actually. I'm gonna let the cutscene play, because I even coded cutscenes and created characters for this story. Right. There's... Yeah, I can fuck up here. Yeah, I knew I could fuck up there. There we go. The first hit in the game. I'm pretty much going to avoid getting hit by the boss. I was quite proud of this particular idea. I'm gonna make this look pathetically easy. The idea behind the boss was, when I was researching Mega Man and Shovel Knight at the time and how they did bosses, and I wasn't particularly a fan of the way they do bosses. They're great games. I'm specifically talking about Mega Man 2, but I do probably count all of them to an extent. The bosses are always in a single room, and I always felt you're not actually being challenged on the platforming you did up until that point. So the idea is that you fight the boss in little increments. So on top of fighting the boss, you having to do these platform challenges in between, which test your skill. So I was quite proud that oh my god, I actually might die here. That was pretty bad. I do get some feedback that the first boss is difficult, but I remember I decided to keep to this. Ooh, that was close. That was the first level. This demo has a second level, but I hope you enjoyed that. I'm glad to hear you found it pretty awesome. The reason I committed to it is because the first time I showed the boss fight to a friend, his reaction to when after the first phase, after hitting and the camera starts panning up, I would never forget my friend's reaction being, "Holy shit, this is cool." I thought, oh, I did it. I've nailed something down. That's the one thing I did correctly. So this is the map. I got full screen here. And then this is the second stage, but we'll go around and explore. I'm glad, Ed. Hi, Michael. Welcome to the chat. You can talk to him twice, because to be fair, this is I'll probably start talking about some changes I'm gonna do. Oh yeah, it takes a bit to get used to the controls. The default reminds me of these NES controllers. That's good to hear, honestly. It is pretty difficult to get used to at first, but I had a friend, one of my closest friends from college. He played it, and I've never seen someone so angry at playing a game. And his feedback was, "I hate platformers. I'm not very good at them, but I will play this one." And he said it's because he really likes the precise control on the character when jumping. Like, it's difficult, but the controls seem like he's in control. Like, if he fucks up, he knows he's at fault and not the game. And that's because one of the weirdest things I did, I think there's nothing wrong with this video I'm going to point out. I can't remember exactly, but I watched a YouTube video many years, a year or two back, that was like, these are the top 5 things you gotta have in your platformer. And one of them was horizontal acceleration, where, you know, in Mario Brothers, where when you hold down the run button, you slowly build up speed. That's what horizontal acceleration is. And when I was making this game, I originally just was like, I want to make a platformer for me. Like, what do I like about a platformer? What don't I like about a platformer? And horizontal acceleration works for a lot of games, but I felt for my game I didn't want to do that, so I didn't include that. Other things in that it was specifically that one where I looked at it and was like, do I have to include it? Basic things like coyote time. If you know what that, does anyone know what coyote time is? Basically, if you run off the edge, you have a brief moment where you can still jump like this. That's what it basically gives the player a bit more control. So that's kind of the idea behind it. And a jump buffer, which was not included in the very first version I put out a year ago. I messed up with that and I forgot to put it in. A jump buffer is where if you press jump before landing, you can do it will read the input before you touch the ground. So that changed a lot of things, as well as like more control. So yeah, it's really simple things. The reason the character shoots was because, I'm not kidding, like it wasn't because of a Mega Man thing. It was because when I made the game, I didn't know how to do the Mario bounce at the time. I was that green at making a game. I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a platformer. Oh, I don't know how to do the bounce. Like when you jump on a Goomba's head. I know how to do it now, and that's ridiculous thinking about it back then, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give him a gun. And it was a card gun that knocks him out. I think another friend actually was the reason I don't kill enemies in this game. You play as a magician thief, you're not actually going around killing people or killing enemies for that matter. That's why the enemies don't die, you knock them out. But yeah, sorry, I'll go around here. This is the magician's lair. And you can meet the other bosses in this little hub world, essentially. Sulfur. I've never heard of that one, but I will look it up afterwards. Sulfur. Is that like a 2D game platformer itself? I guess it would apply to 3D games as well. Oh, Brawling Boots. I put Brawling Boots here as a joke. I had a friend who asked me, you know, in Super Smash Brothers, Super Smash Brothers Brawl, the game where it has a mechanic where the character would randomly trip. I said, my friend was like, hey, would it be funny if you added that in as a joke? And I thought, I will do that. You should never ever promise to do things for things even as a joke, because I tried to do that. I tried to code it, and I was like, oh no, I forgot. Coding this is such a nightmare. I can't do it. So I went back to my friend and was like, hey, dude, I'm sorry, I can't actually do it. It's like, and he was like, oh god, no, I wasn't really asking you to do it. But you put it in there as a reference. That's very nice of you. Is what I said I would do. I did. There's a really good video out there about the tripping mechanic in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and it goes into in depth. I didn't know it was a 1 to 1.25% chance of tripping, but the chances are very low. But I think there's a lot of conditions to why tripping happens a lot in that game. Anyway, it's in here and it's there as a joke. A friend pointed out to me the other day that was I making a very specific CEO joke, and I was like, no, I just put that in there as I wasn't thinking at the time. I needed to put something there as a thing, but I didn't realize if it was people were thinking it was related to anything in real life. But whatever, I don't care. I'm keeping it in. The little guy at the top of this drill bot was from the very first version of the game. So I kept it in as a little reference. That green and yellow girl in the middle of the overlay looks like the Dark Magician girl from Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, it is. It's based off that character. And it's the second boss. I probably should have hidden her until I shown the boss, but whatever. And here is the gate. The mystery of the game. I actually designed this one day out of pure boredom, and then I was like, oh, this is cool, I gotta use it for something. So here it is. Here's a cool looking pixel art door. So another thing, and I noticed this when Max played it, because when I put out the demo, I didn't actually get enough people play test it. I had people playtesting the levels, so level 1 and 2 I'm quite confident in that they are fine levels for the way they are. However, the NPC areas, I just made myself on the fly. I didn't really get anyone to test it. So you have this problem where for example, I'll walk up to this guy, and he's using the handsome Squidward face. You can still talk to them again. most people, Max, and a few friends, when I went to see him on the weekend, didn't know that. They just walked past. And the reason why you could talk to him twice is because the first time you talk to an NPC, they trigger an array that there are two arrays. Yeah, there are two arrays. One's for introduction and one for normal. So when you talk to an NPC for the first time, they have some sort of introductory text. But it's mostly because I realized, oh, what happens if you beat the level at this point or do this? You can't show text introducing them on things that you probably already know, or vice versa. So it's a bit of a weird one. I made like a custom text system for myself so I could create custom variable checks. So, for example, there's an example here that does it, but basically if I were to like beat the game really fast or beat a level fast, or maybe I was let's think. I'm trying to think of a good example, or bought a goofy looking outfit. There isn't one in the game. There isn't going to be one. This is just an example. And you talk to the NPC. You could do a check for that specific thing, and they might react to that. The reason it isn't in here is because I coded it to do that. But I said to myself, I'd only do it like the additional checks after the game is ready and more out there, if that makes sense. So have the system set up and use it when necessary. Otherwise, it's just a normal generic text system. I wonder why is life so beautiful. And if you go all the way over here and talk to this guy, something would put a yard up here. Okay. There. And then I can go back and talk to him. My title? Well, this isn't one of the magicians. There are just many magicians in the world, to clarify. I don't know if the writing lands or not, but I did have a friend laugh to a lot of the jokes in this. Like, there's a box down here, and if you talk to him, the text box covers the screen. So I make a bit of a meta joke here, and that's kind of the joke. I don't know if that joke works. As for why there's a guy in a cardboard box down here, I put him as a placeholder. And then I just kind of forgot about him until later, because he keeps going into this corner. Like, this is a happy little accident that worked in itself. I probably might remove him in the main game when I finally make it. There's a lot of writing in this game, in terms of like what you can do or talk to. This was a scrapped character design that Okay, I'm glad you found it funny. Okay, I won't remove him. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, this character was so for the second boss I wanted to do like a magician's trio kind of thing, but because I was again still new to making the level, I was like, I should stick to doing one boss instead of like a trio in one go. So it may come back later, it may not, I don't know, but I really like that design and that character that I was like, I can't remove her design. I was quite proud of it. That's one of my favorite designs. Here's a little shop I made. I should add like a check if you're standing on the table. Loitering was misspelled in that interaction. Maybe you fixed. I probably didn't. Okay, but thanks for letting me know. I will check. Thanks for pointing it out. If there is any grammar or like spelling mistakes, do let me know. I will fix it, but you probably won't see the change until like a new version of the demo's out, and that won't be for a long time. And you can buy an outfit. But I'm not going to buy an outfit because I need to use the money for the other place. You like my little shops. I was quite proud of this random design. What Pokemon? So this character's color scheme was based off a Pokemon. That one dragon. Dragapult, that's the one. I needed to pick a color scheme on the fly, and that's why I picked him. But the joke is, there's a joke that no one but me will figure. I'm gonna talk about this because I know no one will ever find it or will care. Will it happen? Very unlikely this will happen, and if it does, I will screen cap it. But I believe there is a 1 in 4,090 something chance he will turn shiny as a reference to Pokemon. If you're wondering why, it's because I was bored one day and I had like 5 minutes of time and I was like, that would be a funny thing to code in. I could do that. Yeah, there's a lot of really weird things I coded that no one will ever find out. And I'm not even sure this this Easter egg will even occur because I tested it by changing the chances, then changed it back. I'm not going to go in and out of the room 4,000 times. Unless he changes color right now. It might make for a funny stream though. To just spend the entire day doing this. But yeah, it's very unlikely it will happen. Anyway, yeah, I gotta buy some abilities. Oh yeah, oh yeah, you can hold start to also skip text if you want. Okay. So, and this is the drop dash mechanic. You see, I added that little guy there because I thought it would be easier to showcase what that thing does to people. If you're wondering what this thing does specifically, it's a third ability I added in the game, but it was a bit too late at a certain point. Because most of the game, the first 2 levels were already built around not using this mechanic. Well, if the game's ever a success, I think it would be pretty funny that someone will stumble into that and then talk about it. There's a lot of weird references, like, for example, this guy here at the start, he talks about his yard from over there, but I more or less quoted line from line from an old video on Giant Bomb, the video game website, where 2 guys, one of them was Vinny from when he was in Giant Bomb, doing an impersonation of the bad guy at the end of a very specific video. Hitman Go. No one's gonna know that. No one's gonna get that reference unless they get that joke. I just always thought it was the funniest thing I saw. So, and a lot of that was mostly because at the time when I was making this particular level or this particular city, I kind of just wanted to slap some random stuff in the background. Like, if I were to say all the references, that's a Giant Bomb reference. That's Handsome Squidward. Even this guy in orange here, he's a reference to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from the NES. Because I was watching the Angry Video Game Nerd, or like rewatching old episodes out boredom. This guy is Bob the Builder, well, based off Bob the Builder. His color scheme anyway, nothing else. So yeah. Anyway, that's all the references I think there are. But yeah, we'll go into this second level, so we'll play through that. So the idea of the drop dash was to answer a question that a friend a playtester friend of mine asked, who was like, "Can you like cancel the dash?" And I was like, "No, because I already built a lot of the level around the length of a dash being a specific width. So it was a bit too late to change it. However, I thought, okay, maybe a compromise where you could get a power up that kind of cancels the dash midway. So you could press this any time while dashing and it will cancel the dash. And I guess it's better to just start again. I'll show you an example of how that's useful. Like here, if you're speedrunning and you want to do things fast, you could do it like that. And that's the idea behind it. And I knew a couple of friends who started using it, really liked it. So a part of me is still thinking of, I might make it as like a default ability that you have at the start of the game to at least showcase what abilities are. But yeah, I guess I'm already talking about the levels as it is, but a lot of the idea behind what the second level is that I take concepts from the first level and slightly change it in a way that feels distinctly different and well, for the most part, offers a bit of a different change. For example, I was thinking, okay, I want to add bounce pads again into the next level, but I don't really want to copy and paste bounce pads. It will look a bit repetitive then. So I made the rule to make sure not to use any asset from a previous level. What I found difficult, or what I found interesting, was it was kind of like remaking. It's like making it's like making a sequel to your first level, right? So the reason I came up with the balloon is because, okay, what makes the balloon different from a bounce pad? Well, they pop and they have a one-time usage for like a limited time before they grow back, like before they reset, right? And so that immediately meant, at least from my logic, oh, that's better than a bounce pad, or at least that adds a little bit of difficulty and interest to what was a normal thing to a player. So the player already knows how it works, but now they have a little bit of a danger in sections where, yeah. So there. Oh, and this one's a pretty cool one. So you know how there are spikes in that first level? When you go up to these, they start firing. Oh my god. And so there's your little subversion. I like merged two things together. Yes, and here's the checkpoints. Yeah, I'm kind of amazed I made that like a I made like a pixel art figure of the magician idol, and I managed to make it somewhat reassemble her in like the smallest amount of pixels possible. These NPCs were created before any other NPC was made. I wanted to add break rooms, and oh god. Oh yes, I forgot to. So there we go. Yeah, so instead of a normal switch, it's a time switch. And instead of lasers, I used the saw blades that move around, which add a little bit more customization with how they move and how they interact with the level. I'm casually just playing it now without thinking. Oh, I missed. I don't even have to hurt these guys. And the idea behind the enemy... There are two types of enemies, a normal enemy and a big ball enemy. The idea was simply because it's like, someone said, there's only one type of enemy in the first level. And I was like, you're the first person to notice or point that out. And I think I'm going to take I think I did a good job because that means no one noticed the fact that there was one enemy in that level. So I added 2 in this one. But it's more of a variety. It's more like the same thing as like... They're similar. Well, when I run into another enemy, I'll explain it a bit better. The prototype. And we did. The little red and blue thing is the character that you see in my overlay. I know, again, that was probably my favorite character to design, even though I had no idea what to do. Thank you. Yeah, adding a variety of stuff was not easy. I had to basically learn what is the best way to approach level design. When I made multiple levels, when I made the second level, it took quite long because a lot of it was me trying to figure out, like, I guess essentially a template, if that makes sense. Like, oh, I could just make 8 levels and use the same obstacles, but it's, to me, the most interesting games all have something unique with each level. And they don't reuse, at least for the most part, they don't reuse assets. This level was fun. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Did this particular, like... Yeah, a unique base. One of the positive things I hear from everyone who play tested the game is how none of the rooms feel... how do I word this? None of the rooms feel repetitive. Or they all feel very unique, and that's because I figured out a little formula for designing the rooms. Actually, I'll take a second to talk about this. Level design was not... Level design... When you make a game for the first time and you have to do everything, I severely underestimated the role of a level designer. I like briefly forgot before making a level, oh yeah, level design is a skill set. And I have a lot more respect for level designers specifically, more than any other role. Well, I have a respect for all the roles, but a thing I had a lot of, I was impressed by was level design, because I just, for some dumb reason, I could program all this stuff, I can put all these assets together, I can make the level work. But making the actual level was like, I don't know, I found it so cool. I was like, holy shit, this is difficult. And there is a, like, kind of a craft to doing it. Sorry, yes. The rule I had for the formula was the rule of 2. Where, for most parts, I basically had a list of every single obstacle. And for every room, I made like a little spreadsheet, and I was like, okay, I'll take two obstacles and put them as the theme of the room. So for this room, for example, it's specifically just balloons and spikes. The next room is a bad example because... Oh wait, no. This room is the timed platforms with saw blades. And you kind of need to do this in one go, so I'm just going to try and do this without falling. There we go. Oh, and we're in the last section of the level. A friend burst out laughing to that one. I was quite proud of that. Yes, I actually designed this character as well. Like a third character that was supposed to be more of like a Yanderer type personality who's very protective of the magician idol. All 3 of them were supposed to bounce off each other, but it's one of those things where you like... It's like, it sounds cool on paper. When you try to implement a thing, it's like a whole different story. I miss my lads. That was a thing two friends brought up to me. They said, oh, I can tell right away this game was made by a British person. Okay, yeah, sorry. There weren't many bowl enemies. So I was finally trying to showcase this. Yeah, the idea behind this enemy is that you can't just like jump over him, you have to actually shoot him. And when he falls, he will charge at you, right? And turn. But the little, like, I guess a little bit of a coding thing about this is that when you pop the enemy, he basically just goes invisible and all his collision is turned off. And it spawns a generic normal enemy. So when I pop him, there's actually two enemies on this very particular section here. It's just you can't see the other one because I popped him. Oh my god. Yeah, I can't really show it because it's like maybe I could reset the room and show it. There's a reference that's very specific, but when this guy starts falling, his animation is like a reference to Lemmings. The way they wave their arms from the Super Nintendo version. I'm pretty sure it's the same in a lot of versions, but I don't know. If I feel like I need to point out all the references I made. Yeah, I really like Lemmings, and I was like, I need to think about a good way to do a folding animation. I was like, for some reason, Lemmings came to mind. They're like idol fans. That's what the enemies are, and they all like, they are literally lemmings. To they all simp a very specific idol. So yeah, that was the idea behind that full animation. I think I also have just kind of a rule for references. Like I could point out all the references I want, but most people aren't going to notice. And I think that's that is like the best way you can do Easter eggs or references, is if it doesn't get in the way of like the actual storytelling or the game you're playing. Like I could put like a terrible, annoying meme everywhere in the game, but I choose not to because the joke is not. It does. I don't find those jokes funny personally. Um, Thank you. I like Lemmings. I might play that. That is on my backlog of like games I want to beat. I really liked Lemmings. Oh no, I'm not gonna go on a rant about Lemmings. But yeah. I guess also because they're lemmings, that's what the reference is about. But it's like, it's literally 2 frames of animation. No one's gonna talk about that in the future. I promise you. All right. I get to see the Magician's Idol. For this particular boss, I removed the auto scrolling section, so the player has control over running. I actually had to battle with a couple of people on that idea because I was like, I basically copied and pasted the original first boss as reference. But what I've noticed is that an auto scroller limits your speed, and for this particular level, it was quite long and quite big. So I wanted players to like, well, what my friend said, it's faster to have control over the camera, if that makes sense. And that seemed to work in its favor. Oh, I was quite proud of the little, like, idol fans cheering. I got that idea from WarioWare, and I wanted to, like, incorporate idol fans in some way. Sorry, I just casually muttered to myself like I was playing it, like I was playtesting it again. The number of times I tested trying to, like, fight this boss. There we go. If you're wondering, you can't take damage when you hit the boss. When you defeat the boss, you basically go into God mode, so you can't die as soon as you land that last hit. Because I've seen 3-4 people who tried that and then tell me, "Oh, you can't die." I'm like, "Yeah, of course you can't die, because if you die during the end sequence, then you're gonna have to start the death will load in faster than the actual end sequence, so you have no choice but to fight the boss again." But yeah, that's the first one. That's the first demo. You can. This is a thing Max missed, and a few playtesters did. Where, yeah, the first time when you beat the first boss and you go to the city and talk to them, outside of their introduction text, they do have a unique line of dialogue. So if you beat the second boss and you talk to the NPCs, they are now saying something different than before. Yeah, because I think, yeah, Max, specifically Max played the first level, then immediately went to the second level without checking out much of the city. And that's honestly perfectly fine. I should clarify. So I guess some game... No. So, like, game dev... Like, this is a bit of a game dev tip. I do two different, like, tests on people when I get people playtesting, or I watch people play my game, which is I do the feedback test where I hear what they say and their reactions, and then I can talk to them, or wait until they finish and they tell me what they think of the game. But you also want to do something called, like, the secret test, where you gotta make a mental note of how they interact with things. If you tell them, like, if I were to tell Max while Max was playing at the time, I'd be like, "Hey, if you beat the first boss, you can go talk to the NPCs." Max is just gonna go straight and talk to the NPCs. That means I won't know, like, how a player would react. And I saw a few players do this, and as a result, it was like, oh yeah, I kind of need to get somebody to, like, I need to. I made a mental note of, like, okay, so, I mean, I will also say this, like, I do the same in some platformers where I'll play a game and I'm like, I just want to play the levels. I don't care about, like, exploring the NPC cities or talking to people. Like, if I want to just do the levels, you should be allowed to just do the levels. So yeah, but that's an example of what I mean. Where, yeah, oh, that's nice. I love having the NPCs react to your progress and, like, the changes to the world/story. Yeah, that's partly the idea behind the whole they have something different to say each time you progress through the level, because I thought that adds a bit more variety. And also, if you were to go and replay the game and you missed out on all that dialogue's there. It's kind of a weird one, because I think, like, I don't... This isn't an issue. I should clarify. How Max played was perfectly fine, and how people play, and a few of my friends, playtesters as well, were just not interacting with stuff as much. I wrote all this dialogue, and I know half of it will get missed by most people, and that's fine. But I think it's always important to add a little bit of extra there for those who want it. So when I say it's not a problem, I'm not really going to change or address that. The only thing I consider a problem is when you talk to an NPC for the first time and they do their introductory text, and then you can still interact with them after. Most players aren't going to know that, so I need to figure a way to solve that problem. But that's on my long, giant to-do list. Oh yeah, the idol. Yeah, yeah, I agree, Eric. Yeah, some people are just I mean, I do this. I did the same with Shovel Knight. I knew what to expect from Shovel Knight. I didn't Yeah, it's that's that's why this like skip buttons here. I don't even need to like do it. I can spam A. Almost dropped the. Oh yeah, that is an idea. Paved Dreamer. You can make an exclamation mark or speech bubble on the specific level in that world map to give a hint that maybe there's new dialogue in that level. The problem is I would have to like check every single dialogue in the array, and the dialogue resets because like NPC. This is the part I like about game dev is like when I have to approach something and I start realizing, oh, it's not that simple. Like for example, I could talk to this guy again and he will still say the same thing from before. And that's because I've exhausted. There's only like he will only say the same thing again. Each time you beat a level, he'll say something different. What I'm probably going to do is add a variety of like dialogue. The reason, so like if I talk to him, the box dude, I don't know what to call him at this point. He will say something different each time. So he will. I could do like a random number generator, and depending on the number, it will play a certain line of dialogue. And so, and yeah, I could have it cycle between random ones. Just have the dialogue itself hint that returning later might be doing something else. So here's, yeah, that's. I find it fun. Like as much as I hate it, and I do kind of like go chit when I have to look at my dialogue thing. Like, I think the reason I didn't add like I think a random number generator for random sets of dialogues within certain conditions is an idea. So like, oh, you beat level 2, this character will say 1 out of 5 different things. The reason it's not here is because writing dialogue is very time consuming. Like, it took me a whole week to write the dialogue for every single character because like you you could write it up, right? You could type in the dialogue. Oh, this is what the character will say. Then you've got to reread it over and over again. Then put it in the game, and then test it in the game. And if the writing doesn't flow correctly or doesn't work, you're kind of like, okay, I have to scrap it or I have to change it to something else. Like this box guy had like 5 lines of dialogue rewritten because I just, even though he wrote him in as a joke, none of the dialogue really worked for me. And even now, I'm a bit like, I don't like the last set of dialogue. And then on top of that, when you have to do the dialogue, like, oh, okay, what if I talk to the NPC after beating the second level? I'm like, oh, great, I've got to write dialogue for every single character again, essentially. And if I don't want to, I could just copy and paste the same dialogue in all the checks, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, this right here is why I like games, like making games, because it's always fun. But also, yeah, the most simple idea usually ends up being the most complicated, and the most complicated thing tends to be the most simple thing. Like adding this screen, for example, and adding outfits. Oh wait, I thought, oh my god, it's gonna take forever to like get a shop system working, and oh, if you change outfit, I gotta have this like specific menu, and it turned out that was easy. That was like extremely easy in the UI thanks to Godot's like UI system being nice. Take care, Max. Thanks for popping in, and thanks for playing my game back then. I appreciate it. Have a good enjoy whatever it is you're doing. Yeah, sorry, this outfit makes you floaty. No one used this among playtesters except for one friend who I saw last weekend, who said this outfit this outfit was very made things easier and more controlling. And I was very shocked to watch my friend who played through the level. My friend's a keyboard player. The reason, yeah, one of I think there was like 4 playtesters that preferred keyboard controls, and I had a lot of feedback on that one because I just didn't it's difficult to build the controls around the it's difficult to build control. It's easy to build controls around the controller because I play with a controller, right? But if you're building controls around something you're not used to, like the keyboard, it's a bit different. So right now, like I'm using the arrow keys and the jump the space bar is the jump. And according to feedback, a lot of people usually make that mistake. It's actually not the control. That isn't the proper way for a platform keyboard player. It does, if that makes sense. Anyway, yeah. So my solution to that for keyboard control is I added button mapping to the game. And I'm very proud of the button mapping, though I did get feedback recently that requires me to change it a bit more. Yeah, for gamepad and control and keyboard. So people playing it can set it to whatever they want. Also a little toggle instead of hold gun, but no one uses this but me. So, but I think it's important to add like even the most basic. If you can, if it's easy to make, you should do it. If it's for accessibility reasons. Accessibility is super important, and I never realized that until I saw some playtesters change settings that benefited them. Yeah, I added rumble into the game, and I immediately knew some people might not like the rumble, and so I added the rumble strength feature, which is the easiest thing to code. Again, if it's easy, I don't really have an excuse. I think with accessibility, because I had a discussion with friends about this, like, I want to add more accessibility options in the future. The problem is nothing is set in stone. So you don't... That's the thing I learned about game development, is that there's a lot of things I want to do, but I shouldn't do them right now. Like, you need to be able to distinguish what is important and what isn't. I added button mapping because at that point I learned how to do it, and it benefits a lot of people if they can boot up this demo and actually just go straight to the controls and change things. And if they wanted to turn off the rumble, they can, and stuff like that. But yeah, I like things like a font. I think it's like a dyslexia font that you can use. I wanted to do that, but I didn't get time to do it. But I think it'll be more beneficial to have something like that in like when the full game comes out. So I want to add as many things in there, but I don't want to obviously do it now because I want to wait until I get to a near completion of the game to do that, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm kind of waffling about accessibility, but like I did the pull screen and all this UI stuff a bit later, and I was always reluctant to because I'm reluctant to do anything new, if that makes sense. Even though everything I do is something new. Like, I think it's more, oh god, I gotta do UI, I gotta do, like, UI design. Like, like in the first version of the game, if you pressed... is there a pause button in that first version of the game? I don't know. But all the buttons were red at first, and it's like, oh, I gotta learn UI design. It's like, okay, you have to use... So I use white. I had to invert the colors so you know that this is going back, and when you click on something and you press back, it will go back, so it's easier to quit. Like when I press options, it needs to hover over return, not master, so I don't have the player scroll down. You know, if that makes sense? It's very... I find this stuff fascinating. I know this might seem really boring to others, but it's so that's just like the fun I get out of game development. It's just like random little challenges like that where I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? Yeah. Oh yeah, we can go back to the Magician's Lair. And we can now talk to this guy. Went to me the other time. Bathroom was on the last floor. Oh man. I forgot I wrote that. I will show you a glitch or a bug in this game that I thought was funny and won't fix. Because it's so very specific that you'd actually have to be trying to make this glitch to occur, right? So when you touch this bounce pad, you bounce up, right? There's this outfit makes you floaty, right? So your jumps are a bit slower. Basically, your gravity. All I did was change the gravity. This was more of a test costume, but it seemed to have a lot of benefits to a couple of people. So, hey, I did a good job there. But yeah, if you touch this bounce pad now, it's still the same. The bounce pads are coded specifically so the second you touch the bounce pad interacts with the player, it checks what outfit the player is wearing, and then sets the strength of the bounce pad. So when the player is in the red outfit, the bounce is actually quite normal. When it changes... Oh wait, sorry. The bounce is stronger on the red outfit, and the strength is less when you're on the blue outfit. Can you see where I'm going with this? Yes. It only checks the second you touch it. So, if you touch this... Oh, sorry, let me do it again. If you touch this bounce pad... Oh, wait, let me do it again. And you change to this outfit, the strength of the bounce pad has already been set to the player. So if I switch this outfit, the player's just going to go shooting towards the ceiling. Like that. It's not by much. It's very... It's like... It's not like game breaking or anything, but like... I'm the only one who discovered this bug. None of the playtesters thought to do this. I just thought it'd be funny to try it. And I thought it was really funny. And then... But I was also like... This is one of those examples of like... where and when you should fix things. This has... Since this bounce pad only affects one level, yeah, I think so. If someone's going to use it for some sort of strat, that would be really funny. So I decided to keep it in. If it doesn't break the game, and it's a funny little thing, like, you actually have to keep, like, doing this to have any benefit, and it only affects the first level, so... Because, like I said, I'm not including this in future levels. No, wait, I just realized I have the bounce pad, the balloons have the same similar code. It will also do the same thing. Okay, yes, this might actually be a problem in a future level, but so far it hasn't affected any. The reason I bring this up is that, like, one of the feedback I get from various people is that this game's very well polished and doesn't have many bugs or issues. I'm quite confident at finding bugs and issues because I playtest this thing to death. So I don't really believe anyone when they tell me this game is well polished and it doesn't have like any bugs, because I don't believe myself. I guess my point was that, like, I have fixed hundreds of little things, and I'm glad you enjoyed that, Flapjack. I'm glad explaining. I like finding stuff like this. But yeah. My point was that, like, I've learned to distinguish what is a, like, game breaking bug. Like, there was a bug, right? I'll explain this one, which I thought was really funny, but it was too broken to keep in. Where if you know where in level 2 there's the next level door and there's an enemy next to it in one of the rooms. There used to be a bug where if you get hit or okay, sorry, if you die and you bounce back and you bounce in front of that door and you press up to enter that door, you enter that door even though you're dead. The level then loads faster than it does reset. So the next room, it'll continue to the next level, the next room, sorry, and the player will have -1 health because I stupidly coded it to check if the player's health equals 0, not less than 0. So basically, that bug was an immortality bug, which allowed you to be immortal for the entire game, because your health just got stuck at a number it shouldn't have, and so the game doesn't know you're dead. And I thought, damn, that's a really stupid oversight on my part. It was so funny. I was like, I want to keep it in, but I can't. It's too game breaking. So that's an example of like of a bug you need to fix, and yeah. Whereas like the bounce pad glitch I showed you is so hyper specific that I at this point in time for these two levels, there is zero chance of it being used for something broken. Sorry, I have ranted about the bugs right now. Oh, I also made it so you can't die here because it's like this is a hub area. Um, and then, oh yeah, that was in the notes. That reference of them drinking. They used to be drinking buddies. That was on the notes for the Magician's Idol, was that she was in her like late 20s, kind of like she's not. It's like most I don't know, older than she looks kind of character. And here's my amazing door that I'm quite proud of. The janitor is here. I just put a janitor in the game because I thought it was funny. Here we are, next area. Yeah, you need to get all the keys to unlock that big door. I forgot I put that note there. Again, for people who don't know, Derek Bottles is my like game dev persona. That's my game dev VTuber. I don't know if I can even call myself a VTuber. I think I'm a streamer at this point. Anyway, here she is. This is her little area that I slapped together last minute. Not happy to see me. I forgot. I forgot about that. I've written so much dialogue, I always forget that I wrote some dialogue that actually makes me laugh. I'm being a bit self-indulgent with my own work here, but like, if I'm able to make myself laugh and not remember dialogue, I think I did a good job making a game that caters to myself. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to reply to what you were saying, Coley. So oh, my parents played it on MS though back then. You can emulate it. Yeah, you can emulate Lemmings these days. I've got it's on the Super Nintendo, so I'll probably just play it on that on my Super Nintendo Mini. Yeah, that will be a stream actually. I might do it sooner than later. Uh I think this one's a bit too obvious, but does anyone know what this bed is a reference to? If you don't, I will post a picture of it. I'll give people a second to figure it out if they don't. I don't think anyone knows. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna put... let me see if I can add it in. Let me show. It's a reference to Stardew Valley. Specifically this. The really like terrible looking bed in the opening cutscene of Stardew Valley. They called it the dying grandpa bed. I'll be honest, a lot of things like I did not intend for it. If you're wondering why I put so many weird references or things in the game, it's because I just need to put something in there. Like, I need to make a bed, and I tried making I made like 5 different beds before. I was like, you know what? All these beds look either too nice or too weird, or look out of place for this type of game. I'm just gonna do the dying grandpa bed. So yeah, that's what the dying grandpa bed is. Uh oh, did I just delete the overlay? Whoops. What did I just delete? Oh no, I deleted Nicolas Cage. Never mind. He was in my background. It's fine. So yeah, look it up. Dying Grandpa mod. There's hundreds of mods. Maybe hundreds is over exaggerating, but I've seen a lot of mods where they replace that bed with a different sprite or like that cutscene with a different thing, and the mod's always called like Better Dying Grandpa, and I think that's like so funny to me. But yeah, I think that's everything. So we will. Let me get Nicolas Cage back a second. I'm not going to end the stream yet. I've still got like just an hour still. Just under an hour is my plan. Let me put Nicolas Cage back in the background while I set this up. Let me close that. Sorry, it's going to be a bit quiet. So, okay, I think I did a very good... I hope I did a good job talking about the game. So this is... That was the introduction to my game. I hope people like what I have made and what I presented. And so I think I'm going to make it a monthly thing or a bi-monthly thing. But I'll be doing videos like this or streams talking about my progress. It's basically a devlog, and the idea behind it is I can talk about it's an incentive for myself to keep working on the game. So I'm like, hey guys, I'm still working on this thing. This is what I've done and the progress I've made. I am aware that streaming is going to eat up some time, but the sad reality is that as proud I am of that game, barely anyone played it and no one really looked at it. And that's honestly fine. Well, it's not fine for me, but in terms of like, I'm not gonna like gaslight my friends or complain at people or family like, oh, why didn't you play my game? I don't want people to do that. If someone wants to play my game, they will play my game, and if they like my game, they'll like the game. But I will never force anyone to play my game, and I want to be more respectful. So, when I do that, if ever, I appreciate my friend Max streaming it, but I also made sure to like tell him no pressure. If you don't want to play it, you don't have to. Like, I think for me, the validation comes from random people on the internet playing it. I'm not saying people who are watching the stream. I've actually gotten to know you quite a bit already from before and now. You're all lovely people. I'm not going to tell everyone in this stream, go and play my game right now, because I pretty much just showed you the entire game of what I've got so far. There's no reason for you to play it now. I guess my point was, like, this is a game work in progress, and I would like to bring people along the journey. We've still got under an hour, so what I'm going to do is, because I actually made some big changes to the game since, so I'm just gonna see if I can get that. Oh, okay. Game capture. Let's change it to this. Nicolas Cage. I got it. Okay, good. All right. So this is version 0.21. I just needed background music. Okay, I'm glad to hear. I hope this is good content for people. Thank you for tuning in and whatnot for this kind of thing. I feel very confident in talking about sorry, a friend messaged me about remapping a GameCube controller to a PC. I will reply to him later. Okay, let me think a second. Even though I did release the game, I did actually get more feedback from random game developers. I went to game dev servers and started posting it everywhere. Because those game dev servers have little, like, a section, like a channel for showcasing the game, and I thought, okay, I'll post it here and see what I got. So I got 2 very specific feedback that, unfortunately, I didn't know how to describe it. Basically, I'm glad people like what they got, what they thought of the game, but I did change a couple of key things, which I will explain here. The feedback was that the game was too punishing. What they meant was, it sucks because I played the game normally and I played it too well, so people aren't going to notice. But when you play it for the first time, if when you die, you go back to the start, or you go back to a previous checkpoint, right? And a common phrase I noticed some people would say, first-time playtesters, was, "Oh, I have to start again." That particular line gets me every single time, because I didn't think about it. And the reason I missed this was because everyone who playtested my game had playtested the game multiple times. They know what to expect from my game. So some feedback was, the most common feedback was, oh, this is a bit too mean or difficult. And it's because of how the health system worked. And some people just want to, like, power through the game, you know? They don't want to go back a few rooms and start again, or go back and lose their progress, even if it's minor. It doesn't... I'll show you what I mean. When I boot this... ignore this, I removed the... Oh god. So this version you're looking at is still of me just playing around with things. I've removed the tutorial stuff here, and I'll explain why in a second. Well, after I do this level again. Yes, exactly. Sorry. Coal Eater said it perfectly. I guess game design has moved on from that kind of punishing HP mechanic. Yes. When you die and you have to restart a few... I got that idea from Shovel Knight. And that's because Shovel Knight is doing it deliberately for that type of game. And some people just want to, like, go through a level, and if they die, they can start again. So, how do we address that problem? I actually solved it within 1 hour of thinking about it. And then I smacked my head on the wall like a maniac, because I said to myself, Man, am I really gonna do this? That's a big change. Do I have to do this? Thankfully it was not. There was an assist mode in this game where if you turn it on, if you died, you restart at the start of the room you were last in. So instead of starting back at the start, you start in the last room you died in. Simple, right? So what makes it more interesting for me is that, oh, I had that function in there, and and most people didn't use the assist option because they didn't know about it, or they didn't really understand what it was. Because if you play the game for the first time, a player being asked, okay, you've never played this game before, so how would you like to play the game? Like, the player isn't going to know what that meant, right? Does that make sense? Like, the idea of asking players to make core game design decisions before touching the game, I don't think is a good idea. It might work for some games. It didn't work for this. So I didn't. So I had another. So the idea is, I make it so that when you die, we'll do it here. You now restart in the same room you were in, right? That was a mechanic from the assist option. It's now part of the core mechanic. So how do I make it more difficult? How do I balance that out? Because now players can just breeze through the level. The solution is to lower the health. I lowered it to 3, so you can't just like do this like, oh, look at me, I'm gonna just power through it without caring in the world, and then you get killed by something. And upon playtesting, myself and some friends, I found out that I actually die to this a lot. There was another assist option where when you go into a new room, your life resets. And I initially turned that on as well. But I thought about it. I was like, well, I won't do that. Because I think an idea is there should be like an incentive and sorry, the volume's too loud for me. There's an incentive. The incentive is like, what is the goal for a player? They want to just play through the level, right? What about players like me who want to... Actually, sorry, there's a ranking system at the end of the level. You have to get, like, I think the condition... I've coded in a P rank in this game, sorry. A P rank system where not even I can get the P rank. I only got it once. I couldn't get it again because it requires not getting hit once, collecting every single gem and collectible in the level, and beating the level in under 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So yeah, that was the idea. And so that's the incentive for people like me, where it's like, okay, I gotta beat the level without getting hit or dying. So I added a new thing as well recently because I liked it in Pizza Tower, and I'm wearing it on my sleeve because I thought, well, there's no reason to hide it. If you press select, there are feats. Achievements, basically. And I think a normal player, I mean a casual player, someone who I guess I'm basing this on my experience playing Pizza Tower, because when I played Pizza Tower, you've seen how I played it right now, but back then when I played it for the first time, I didn't care about achievements, I didn't care about lap 2. I just wanted to beat the game. That was my goal, that was my focus. So that was like the incentive, right? Is that after I beat the game and I come back to it, it's like, oh, I should try and get those achievements. And then it's like, oh god, these achievements are quite fun to actually get. So I decided, what if I added this into my game? So yeah, my achievements are in here. And I found that interesting and made it more fun. Like beating the level without dying once. I can do that, but the tricky thing is the health doesn't reset anymore when you go into a new room. This also means the checkpoints are just not there anymore. So I have to beat the level without getting hit 3 times. And I think that's good for like, and get to the boss in under 3 minutes and avoid being seen by the drill bots. So that's how I address that problem. I'm gonna try and do all 3 achievements right now, just to show what the achievements look like when you get it. I also want to showcase level 2's achievements because I was quite proud of the sprite I made for one of them. You'll see what I mean. So yeah, I'm gonna be a bit quiet here, so you're gonna watch me speedrun this. I don't think I can get a P rank, but I can at least show you the strats on how I beat the level fast. I'm gonna try and collect all the collectibles. Yeah, my point was that when I played that demo in front of everyone at the start, I didn't die once, right? Whereas here, when I was playtesting this particular change to the health system, I kept I was dying quite a bit. Even when I was just doing casual playtesting, I was like, oh wait, I'm dying. It's because there's a higher risk of dying because your health doesn't heal or reset until you get to the boss room. Which I think someone's probably right now thinking, okay, you lowered the health, but doesn't that make the boss fights more difficult? And the answer to that is yes. It is extremely difficult to do the boss fight with free health. And I will show you the solution to that when I get to it. Because the solution I had to that, I was quite surprised at how well received it was with friends and playtesters. I say friends and playtesters, they're both the same thing. My playtesters are my friends, and my playtesters are my... oh god. See, this is what I mean. I could... And I've got to also make sure I'm not seen by these robots, these drill bots. Okay. And I have less than a minute to beat the level. Not beat the level, get to the boss. The cool thing about the achievements was that it's fun to code those in. Like, I think for me, that's just more of an optional thing for players. Yeah, I'm kind of waffling and repeating myself in a couple of places. I do apologize. Ooh. Oh no. Alright. I'm not risking getting seen. And I've got less than 20 seconds to get to the boss room. Okay. There's the first achievement. This is my solution. Temporary health. So right before a boss, you can go to one of these... I repurposed the checkpoint to still be a checkpoint. When you lose to the boss, you go back here. And... oh, fuck, I went... I failed this achievement by talking. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Yes, the idea is that if you, yeah, I think people were thinking about, like, oh, health power. Oh, yeah, like, that was what on the table, I think, like, oh, I might do that still. That might address another thing. The temporary health idea. Sorry, when I was waffling, this achievement failed because I didn't go into the next room while I was talking about the game. So I couldn't get this achievement. I can still get this achievement because it recovered my health before the boss. Well, you say, Pave Dreamy, you say thinking of health power-ups during a boss fight. That was actually an idea, though I think I might still add that in. I might have to still... I have to gauge more play testing. Like, the idea is, oh, if you know how there's a phase for each boss section, it could be that when you beat the section, they drop health, like 1 health that you can pick up, just one. I'm only saying that because I had friends who struggled still, even with this power up, this temporary health thing, because you're essentially fighting the bosses you did before. Yeah, I guess maybe have it so if you hit the enemy every 3 times, he drops something. So there would only be two pieces of health in the boss fight. Because I think I do agree to an extent that the boss fight is more difficult than the level up until then. But it really varies on the person. It's tricky. I don't want to make it too easy. So we'll see. We'll see. I think let's just say like if I hit this enemy, let's say this, right? Yes, it's very difficult to balance with health. Maybe like if I hit this boss and he drops a health, he could drop it at the bottom of the floor, like quite literally at the bottom of the floor. Like one of the doors open and a piece of like a heart comes out or something. Just 1 health. But since it's at the floor in the corner, like there, I have to run and get it. So there's a risk for trying to get that health back, right? So maybe it's like a risk versus reward thing. Do I risk 1 piece of health over getting instantly killed by the killer laser thing? I should probably clarify. Yeah, I don't think I need to clarify, but I assume that most people know that that big black laser is going to instantly kill you if it touches you, right? Like that's clearly a danger sign that goes, okay, if I touch that, I die. I don't think I've had a single person go, "Hey, that's unfair." Well, actually, yeah, okay, it's obvious. That's good. Sorry, when I say unfair, I think I remember a Fred say, "It's one problem I can't fix." Like I think one. Sorry, I'm gonna talk a bit more. One friend said, "Oh, it's always a bit frustrating to get to the 3rd phase of the fight and die, and then having to go through the entire phase again." And I'm like, "Yeah." I agree, but I don't really have a solution. I can't really make the player start the fight at a different point in the phase. I feel like that defeats the point. Like there is out of all the playtesting I've seen, everyone gets a kick out of actually finally beating the boss. And I genuinely love seeing people pump their fist when they like beat. Okay. Well, the problem is this is an auto-scroller, so I can't. If you get hit and you bounce off, you still have to like account for the player while the camera is automatically moving. Like, yeah, right, yeah, that's exactly that's part of the reason that was in there. So, well, I know that wasn't. Yeah, it was always intended for an insta kill, but yeah. I guess I could talk about the boss fight coding. Um, as you can tell, he increases the number of times he appears at the door. But what people probably don't know is that the animation and sequence is actually faster. So when the boss, I pointed at the screen, like I pointed at it, like I poked the screen, like I was doing a presentation. Sorry, where like the doors open faster with each phase, and the boss will hide away faster. You won't notice it because it's like a certain amount of like seconds. There we go. And I got the achievement for beating the boss without dying once. Hi Zab. How are you? I don't know what that emoji is. I can't tell what that is. Uh and sorry. Yeah, okay. It's pointing at the screen. Oh sorry, it's because the coloring. Okay, I can see it now. I don't know why I couldn't. Right. Okay, we're gonna do some speed run. Nothing else has really changed. That was the big change I did. this month post-release. So I'll just get these power-ups. Oh wait, I shouldn't be doing that. I should remove the health boost. You should... No, wait, I can increase the health here. It's fine. Yeah, that's the thing I need to fix. Okay, we're gonna, like, read the achievements for this, because I was proud of this one. Dodging the cheers, don't get hit by the boss once. Spiky situation. Okay, I struggled with this one quite a bit, because some rooms were pretty annoying. I'm complaining about the game like I didn't make it. Like, oh, this is bullshit. Who made this? Like, oh, wait, I made this. Of course it's bullshit. Pop in party. Pop every fan's big bouncing ball. So that's what we're gonna do. I didn't think when I made that achievement how many enemies that were on bouncing balls there were. I didn't notice until I played it that there's only 6 enemies in this entire level that is bouncing on a ball. And that's quite insane to me. So I coded it. To code achievements, it's kind of like it does its own unique checks. So I had to basically have like all the bowl enemies have a unique ID and they all have names. But no one knows what the names are because it's coded in my game. It's not on the front end. You won't know that one of the guys' names is called Jerry just because I named him Jerry in the back end. Let me load the array up a second. I'll tell you what all their names are. This is one of the things where, like, no one but me will care. I just did it because I needed to have some fun with it. It's a good thing this music is catchy. Yeah, okay, so all the bowl enemies have a true and false statement next to a name. The bowl enemies are called Jerry, Johnny, Jeeves, Jordan, Jamoa, and Jackster. So yeah, just a random thing about the code in this game. I like to have fun when I'm coding my game, so I know no one will know or care, but that's gonna be archived on YouTube's here for any future reference. Oh, I gotta pop all their balls though. And once I pop all the balls, I will... Oh no, that was another thing I coded into the game recently. I added vinyls to collect. Like collectible vinyls, because I thought it'd be fun to collect vinyls. Oh wait, shit, I missed a ball. I gotta restart the room. I forgot I coded that in as well, that I could just do that. Oh, I have to collect the... Okay. Again, that's another thing about coding that I find interesting, like programming or game dev. For example, like, I missed one of those enemies and I pressed start and hit reset. I have to, like, when you hit reset, you also have to check, like, when I hit reset, I have to check if any enemy in the room was a ball enemy, and if I had popped the ball, I need to reset that ball. I'm going to die. Which is... That's a good sign. And I'm struggling. Oh yeah, I couldn't get rid of the checkpoints. I was like, oh shit. When I got rid of the checkpoint, sorry, I was like, oh shit, the checkpoint rooms are still here. I can't get rid of them because I coded these NPCs to interact with me. So I'm just like, oh shit, I can't like cut these checkpoints because it's like I put a lot of time and effort into them. So yeah, I kind of simplified the room. Uh, oh, oh right, for this stream. It's probably because I didn't. Oh, okay. I should do that in the future. Whoops. Oh, maybe. That's a good idea. Like, the whole point is I'm not... The BGM stuff... That could be like a feature after collecting a certain amount of vinyls, maybe? Like, the ability to change the background music. Do you mean, like, changing the background music in the game, in the level itself? Like, if I don't like this level's music, I change it to the first level's music. Be a bit complicated, but I don't see why it's not. I think, actually, that does bring up one of the things I don't like about some games that do like collectible music things, where like they have like a sound test room basically, or like an area where it's like, oh, you could turn on the music in this area, and when you turn it on, it resets when you leave the area. And it's like, oh, right, I can only play that music in this particular thing. Yeah, like how Smash has customizable background music. That's a good idea. Yeah, okay. That seems like a thing that should be there. Let me just get through this room. Let me just make a note of that a second. Custom BGM for levels. And Paved Dreamer, Coal Eater, I will make a note to credit you when if I and when I implement that idea. If that's okay. I think I have a rule. The problem with doing a devlog is that like I don't want to be like taking credit for ideas that someone gave me, you know. So I will credit you both for that specific thing. As for the health pack thing, I'm not sure, so I'll play around with that. But yeah, yeah. Oh wait, yeah, I can. Wait. You gotta check out the Okay, I think the achievement's about to happen. Check out this achievement. Yeah! Look at it! I don't know, I was quite proud of that. I've had a few people react to that. Sorry, that was just... It was one of my, like, oh, I want to add that very particular meme face into the game, and then I tried to do it in pixel art, and it was quite a challenge to try and get it to look nice. Yeah, currently the vinyls don't do anything here. I just added it in because, again, it's in the middle of coding the game. Well, I'll give us special thanks to Sakurai. To be fair, that's true. If anything, I'll put you in you guys in like a special thanks. Oh yeah, so this is the bit I'm a bit like conflicted with because in the demo before, like the actual demo I was playing, you did have to fight the boss with 6 health because at this point you would have went to the village, you would have went into the store, you would have bought that one health power up. So yes, it makes sense that you would have 6 here. I think I'll explain this in a bit, actually. I'll do this boss. Because nothing's really changed on this end. Yeah. Again, no auto-scroll for this section because the level took way too long to beat, and so I wanted to give players like a way to like speed on ahead to the next section, as opposed to like waiting for an auto-scroll to occur and waiting for the camera to catch up with the player. This boss fight went through a lot of different changes. Like this is a kind of an example of me still learning. I think it was like a few months back when I had people playtest it. The boss, you weren't allowed to hit her until she appeared 3 times in a row. So she would appear once, disappear, appear twice, fires, disappears, and then like fires again. And then and only then you're allowed to hit her. And what I found with friends was it was so mind-numbing after a while, especially if you kept dying to this boss. So that's why it was cut down to literally you can attack her right away, and I just increased the amount of bullets that she fires. Actually, the big bullet here was that the final bullet was Max's idea, because when Max play tested the level, he said that he was expecting a little twist at the end, like the first boss. For anyone who doesn't know, the final boss has an extra shot, and it's a bit of like a delayed final shot, which goes against what the player had previously learned with phase 1 and phase 2 of the fight. And so now I am obligated to have to do the to do like a twist to the end of a boss fight each time now. So in her case, it's a big bullet. In the first boss's case, he shoots in all directions. Ooh, I do. Sorry, I'm running close on time. I'm about like 20 minutes still. But first problem I'm going to fix is that you could buy another health pack, which is not a good idea. I think you should be able to buy another health pack if it's like level 5 or something in, right? Because you gotta spread out those permanent health packs, right? Right now, the player's just got normal health, and I feel like I can't recall which game did this, but some game made the boss stun you such that you won't be able to shoot back if you get hit like that, like during that appearance. That is actually one of the boss ideas I have planned. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with bosses, but I think making them all similar, like Toho fights, like a bullet hell, is the way. It seems like it's the way forward here. I do need to add a bit more of like an aesthetic to Y to make it more magic-like, I guess. I guess shooting fireballs is magical in some way. Get hit like during that. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, yeah, so I'll fix the health system. You shouldn't be able to buy permanent health. I'm gonna make it so you don't get your first health upgrade until like level 3 or 4, and then you don't get your second until later. Like right now I've got too much health again, which kind of defeats the whole point. So yeah. But again, this was I was in the middle of making Fireball level 1. Yeah, okay, that's good. I'm glad people like that one. The funniest feedback I get, and it's always a back and forth because it's a thing where someone brings it up, and then when I ask them about it, they think about it and go, actually, no, that makes sense. Where, you know how in that first level there were turrets that shoot fireballs, but they disappear, or if they miss you and they hit a wall, they'll just turn off, right? Or like, they hit a wall basically. And the first boss fight, his fireballs go through the walls. You're probably not going to notice that, but some players do. And like some friends I've seen react to that, like in a funny way, like, oh my god, the fireball can go through the wall, and then like after the fight and we talk about it, I'm like, it makes sense for it to fire through the wall because it makes it a bit more challenging then. Like I always say after someone does that, I go, hey, do you want me to make it so the fireballs don't go through the wall? And they think about it and they say, actually, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I'm keeping it that way. Yeah, here. This is just for myself. This this build is already got bugs. Like I was saying, like you shouldn't be able to buy a second health pack, is because I haven't coded it out yet. And here I have just random stuff that I need access to on the whim when I go to visit my friends or when I travel out to get some playtesting done. I do live in-person playtesting with my friends because it's better to bounce back and forth with them as opposed to getting them to play it, then message me or stream it to me. It's not the same. I like seeing their visual reaction to playing the game. It helps a lot. Anyway, so you may have noticed in the first level, I removed the little like tutorial TVs basically in that first few rooms that teaches you the basic controls, because I wanted to. One of the ideas I had is there's going to be an optional tutorial room at the start of the game, and you're going to start off in your room or something. So that's because I don't want the game to just boot you straight into the first level. That's fine, but I think for me, I want to have some sort of little like a cutscene and some basic environmental storytelling before you go into the first level. And so there'll be a door or maybe like a hole, hole in the ground that says tutorial down here. And if you don't know how to dash, you will fall down that hole and you'll be forced to do the tutorial. And then you learn about dashing, then you come back and you can choose to dash through it. The problem is I don't want someone to accidentally go down the tutorial hole twice. So I made the tutorial. I made this tutorial room for myself. It was more like I made a mini prototype within my own game just to reevaluate and try out some new things. So what you're about to see in here is completely new stuff. I posted on my blog, so yeah. So like real basic. I wanted to make it look more presentable, so it's like you're in this little like a room of paintings, as you can tell what the sprites are based on. Yeah, and then it gives you some basic tutorial, like little, and it teaches you about the vinyls, the little secrets, the targets. There will be something here you can shoot, which teaches you about the basic concept of how the enemy works. But yeah, that's the tutorial room. The paintings in the background are based on each version of Mario Brothers, because I thought, yeah, it's a platformer, so yeah, why not? Cute little reference. I like it, yeah, but I need to actually test it before it works. Like the whole idea of when you boot up the game and there's a hole and there's like a door on the other side, it'll make more sense in implementation. You might see that next month or in a couple of months, actually. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so level 3 is called. I just started production on level 3. Production. I sound very professional there. And the idea, I'm basically making assets. There's like 2 or 3 things in here in this room. There's not like it's like literally an empty test room. I'll better to just show you the level. Yeah, ignore all this. So my process, or what will be my process, is that I'll be making all the assets for the level, and then I make the level afterwards, because I can't make a level without the assets and the ideas. So the next level is the Magician's Puppeteer. So the entire theme is puppets and whatnot. And it's going to be in like a spooky house. So this might end up being level 4 or level 3, to be honest. If the spooky level's a bit too early, I'll move it to level 4 and vice versa. Um, so the first idea was, how do I do moving platforms differently, or some form of platform? In the first level, you had a disappearing platform. In the second level, you had a weighted platform. Actually, going back to the first level, there was actually another platform which moves when you touch it. Um, so I wanted to do rotating platforms. Um, this was fun. This was a thing I wanted to do when I first started making the first level, but I was new to game development and I didn't know how to code it. I now know how to, and now what you're looking at is, well, yeah, it's a rotating platform where in the back end I can adjust the speed, uh, the width of the rotation, and I could have it rotate backwards or forwards. Really simple stuff, but it adds a lot of variety just there. Like I could create rooms that are faster or slower, or going upwards. Just for me personally, that's what it meant. It meant a lot that I was able to do this. As for the Switch, how do I solve the Switch dilemma? Well, okay, so the first level had a Switch. You shoot it, and it unlocks. Easy, makes sense, right? And second level, okay, it's a timed switch. All right, that seems to make a lot more sense. It adds a bit more to agency to the just hitting a switch. So you have to get there. You have to get through the wall before it closes. So for my idea for this one, it's actually two switches. Ignore the big end, those two blocks up there. I'll explain that in a second. So when you hit a switch, it will lock one door over the other. I need to see how this works in practice, but yeah, it'll be fun to implement and see how it'll work. There's no collision on this, by the way. It's just I made this literally like last weekend when I was trying to figure out ideas. And yeah, up there are just enemies that will, if you stand underneath it, will fall down on you. I had to make them big enough so they at least pose a threat, and they have to move fast enough. So yeah, so that's my idea for level 3 so far. I think I'll come back to it, but yeah, um, that's everything. I have shown and talked about everything I could about this game. So I think we'll end it here because I need to get ready for my anime watches with friends. So let me just close this. Oh my god. Sorry, I forgot about Nicolas Cage. Right. Um yeah, that's everything. We'll end the stream there. But I plan to do a devlog either once a month or once every 2 months. I think every 2 months make more sense because I could at least show some significant big changes. And if I can't, well, I'll go into more detail about that then and when. He is he's enjoying that. Thank you. I enjoyed talking for 2 hours. My throat's a bit dry, so I'm gonna go drink some water. I just realized how difficult streaming and talking is. Thanks, thank you all. Oh wow. Oh, I feel good talking about it, I think, for a change, as opposed to like talking about it in increments and little bits and bobs with friends. So it was nice to go into detail about it and why and where I made those my decisions and what I'll be doing to fix things. Oh, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all. Um, yeah, yeah. But yeah. Uh, until next time, I hope you all have a good time. I'll be playing Pizza Tower tomorrow, I think. Was I playing Pizza Tower tomorrow? What am I doing tomorrow? Let me check my schedule. Even I forgot. I assume I'm just playing Pizza Tower for like until I die. um, let's check. Oh wait, I've got my podcast coming out tomorrow. Sorry. I need to. Yeah, okay, yeah. I need to record that. That'll do that tomorrow morning. That's okay. It's good. I set it to 11 a.m. All right, and Friday will be a Pizza Tower stream. Yeah, I am making a rule not to do streams on the weekend because I go and see my family, and I like to have like a weekend off in general. I'll probably be doing game dev on the weekend. I always say stuff like that, but I'm always constantly working on my game when and where I can. It's just that on Saturdays I go see my family, stay overnight, then I come back on Sunday. So I'm usually way too busy, and if I try to do a stream, I'll be too exhausted. But yeah, anyway, um, okay, take care, everyone. Have a good one. Until then, goodbye.